Hey guys, Anthony from Cartel Management here. Just wanted to do a live video for you guys to talk and converse with you a little bit about Facebook branding or just branding in general, and just have some dialogue with some people that I've been talking to over email or talking to over phone and not really having a face-to-face with. Yeah, really excited about this. I'm kind of nervous. I got one follower. It's Christina. It's my business partner. So hopefully we get some more followers happening. And we can talk about branding and I can answer some questions for you guys. It's my pleasure to answer some questions. So I guess the purpose sort of behind, well, the thinking behind this video is that Christina and I both get some frequently asked questions all the time around, what is branding? Why is it important? Is it a thing that you don't need, if you're starting an artist brand or doing something, to start up a business or whatever? Is it an important thing to have, or is it just something that, you don't really need to worry about? So got a couple of followers now. Hey, Anita. Hey, Nick. What's happening? Just to let you know, guys, this is all off the cuff. I'm winging this completely. So if I fumble up and stumble, it's just what happens, I guess. But yeah, nothing scripted here. So just wanted to answer any questions that you guys had about branding. I guess the starting block of where I really want to start is, how can you define branding? How I said it probably wasn't scripted. I did script a few things while Christina scripted them for me, but got a little sheet of paper here with some notes on it. I just wanted to get the definition of branding off Google, and it says the marketing practice of creating a name, symbol, or design that identifies or differentiates a product from other products. So essentially what it is it's your story. What is your story? And I work with music artists daily that are working to answer that very question. And what is their story? What is it about them that differentiates them from every other artist? In this day and age, everybody's a music producer, right? Myself included. So then what in your brand is, what in your brand is different to everyone else? It's looking like we're getting a little bit of action here. It's good that we got about 3 followers now. If you guys could ask some questions, that'd be great. I don't know, I'm getting some messages elsewhere. Would be joining the Q&A, but in a lecture right now. Well, Ezra, I'm calling you out, mate. That's not very nice. You should be here. I don't know where to start. I mean, with an artist branding, a little bit of my background into it is I started as an artist myself. My artist name goes by the name of Rito. Don't ask me about the name. And essentially I started from scratch, built that from zero to an act that's touring. I've just clocked over 500,000 streams on a track on Spotify, which is awesome. And started Cartel off the back of Rito to help artists and really try and get some things spoken about that aren't often talked about. A lot of the time and a lot of the dialogue in the music industry is about how to get your song finished, all the production techniques, what plugins to use, who to go to for mastering, all that type of stuff. But then once the song is done, nobody really converses or talks about what comes next. And then you see a lot of blogs and stuff like that posting a lot of songs, but what makes it different? What makes it, a bit more personal? So looks like we got some questions. Anita has come through and will. So Anita says, what do you think are the most common branding mistakes when people are starting out? Good question. I think Anita, that more often than not, people sort of copy, or not flat out or intentionally copy, but I think people, pander a lot to artists that inspire them, and then not take it word for word, but essentially try and mold their brand off another artist brand. And that's certainly not differentiating yourself. I think that to be an artist brand, you need to be yourself, you know. And I think that's the main issue. The other issue that I really think is an important one is just the use of social media. Social media is key to branding. I mean, it's how we communicate with our fans. It's how we communicate with, you know, other producers and music people. And I think, you know, having a solid brand across social media is really, really important to, you know, the colors that you're using, to the logo. Not that branding is, you know, all of this cosmetic stuff, but all of that stuff plays key. And, you know, just posting every now and then about, you know, I'm playing here and not really adding value is a little bit, is just kind of counterproductive in my mind. So we try and push our artists that we work with to really, really add some value to the community that they're in. You know, whether it be the deep house community or the, you know, the trap community. I see Mitch Walker just joined from Damn You. So good to have you on board, Mitch. Yeah, so I hope that answers your question. I'm kind of waffling on a little bit, but yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Will, as a producer, how do you go about promoting your music alongside your brand and pushing it to an audience? That's another really good question. I guess for me, the brand is my personality. I molded Rido purely off the back of me being, you know, a bit of a dickhead, loving to go out, loving to party, but also having a passion for music, and that inspired me to get working with a producer called James, who was my duo partner for a really, really long time. Hey, James. And then going solo was a really refreshing move for me because I was allowed to rebrand and then really make my brand just solely about me, and then coming up with strategic ways to run that alongside the brand. So quite recently, Will, as you probably know, I've repurposed Rido a little bit to sort of help guys like you who are wanting to promote music a lot more and really wanting to expand sort of inside the music industry. So the rebrand of Rido sort of happened really organically, and then, you know, we're using releases like my last three, Mind Control, Skyfall, and First Time, to really show that you don't need to have a big team behind you. You don't need to have PR companies working for you. You don't need, you know, all the bells and whistles. You just need a really smart plan. You need, you know, sometimes some good contacts, or being able to research who those contacts are, and then moving forward with that plan and sticking to it, and then being able to adapt if something goes wrong, like many times it does, being able to adapt to that. So guys, we are cranking on here. We got 11 viewers. This is unreal. I was expecting about 3 or 4, so this is really good. I'm glad my answer made sense, Anita, because I don't know really what I'm talking about here. I'm just waffling on. Hey, legend. Jamie's joined. Hey, Jamie. Jamie's from Misha, who just ran, who we just helped run a party for called Apartment 7. Apartment 7 was a massive success, and it was made to promote their podcast called Started From the Bottom and Now We're Here. And it's just another way to promote a brand. We created a whole brand called Apartment 7 to promote a podcast, but with the girls doing that, they were able to show off who they were as artists, which is best friends, total opposites, roommates, and the party actually took place on their apartment balcony, and we live streamed the entire thing, and it gained really, really a lot of industry awareness, which is fucking awesome. And the girls absolutely did a killer job, and it's done some great things for their branding. So really, really happy with the result of that. We probably didn't get the media that we kind of wanted for the Apartment 7 stuff, which is a little bit disappointing, but I think the industry awareness, and I think moving on to the second one and moving into bigger venues and stuff will show how the girls develop as a brand, and then develop into the artists that they are today. Plus the podcast is dope. So a little bit of a plug there. Yeah, but yeah, I'm getting messages outside of this telling me that I'm doing a good job. So hopefully I'm doing a good job. Guys, if you're just joining in, feel free to ask me anything about branding, why it's important. Why do I think I need it? I've got like a little sheet here to talk about things. It's got a candle stain on it. I haven't really used it, but there are some things that I really want you guys to take away from this video. And one of those is how to build your brand. I can't really answer that extensively, and the reason I can't answer that is because every brand is different. But I think if you really have a think and have a talk to yourself about what you want to achieve as an artist, what you want to do, guys, stop messaging me. Fucking hell. Sorry, guys. If you really want to achieve something, then that's your mission statement. That's what you want to do. So then your brand is built around that. The way that we work with artists in our consulting is that, if they are unaware of what their sort of brand is and what's happening with their brand, we talk to them around, hey, go to a piece of paper, go to a whiteboard, write your artist name down in a little cloud, and then write 10, 15 things that you're really passionate about and that you want to align with your brand. Do you want to be known as a producer? Do you want to be known as a DJ that plays vinyl? Do you want to be known as like me, a guy that wants to give back and talk about marketing strategies and talk about branding? What do you want to align with your brand? And then from there you can really narrow it down to sort of what you want to be, and then comes in the cosmetic stuff like the logos, like how you write, how you structure posts, how you write copy, all that type of stuff. So that's really awesome. Yeah, so a few more people have joined. James Tan, welcome. James is a lovely videographer who I've recently worked with on a campaign for myself for my last record, First Time. That was really cool. So that's going to roll out sort of next week. I might get into a little bit of how we did that and the reasons behind that a little bit later on if I'm running dry for material. So stick around, James. And Benny, nice to see you, Benny. Would love to see if you've got any questions around branding or your artist branding or label branding even. I just want to know all about you guys and what you guys are doing and how you guys are coping with building and sustaining a brand. One question that we get a lot also is it bad to rebrand? I'm not quite sure if that's a question that is asked often of us. It's kind of asked often of us because I think artists that are coming up that are quite new want to change and want to change styles, want to change things and all that. It's not bad to rebrand. I think it's actually quite healthy. I think a rebrand can be quite refreshing, to be honest. I think it's a really good thing around just getting fresh content out there, giving yourself a fresh look, and then giving the audience a really engaging way to view your music or view your product. Will's got another question. Any do's or don'ts when releasing music platforms such as Spotify, YouTube, and when to work with a record label? That's also a really good question. Will, you're coming through with the goods tonight. Do's and don'ts. I mean, when it comes to in a branding perspective, I think it's more so there's no real don'ts. I think you don't want to openly go out and shit on people and have arguments on Facebook and be a keyboard warrior and stuff like that. That's certainly a don't. But in terms of, all that bad stuff aside, I think when you're releasing music, I think it's just key to stick to branding and then brainstorming ways that it can be as engaging as possible. As I said before, we're living in a really saturated saturated music industry on social media these days. Everyone's posting on Facebook, everyone's posting on Instagram, listen to my song, listen to my song, listen to my song, and the attention span of, you know, the consumer now is just bombarded with new music every day, and it's a crazy thing. So I think for you, Will, I think it's really important to really focus on what makes your brand engaging, what makes your brand special, and what differentiates you to me or to every other producer out there that's putting out music saying, hey, listen to my song, because there's got to be a reason that they care to listen to your song. So I hope that helps. When it comes to platforms and stuff, it can be a little bit tricky to navigate platforms like Beatport and Spotify and Apple Music and stuff like that. I think within your branding, I'll try and touch on this a little bit later on around how I did it with my last couple of records, and how I use branding to sort of really engage my audience and build streams. But yeah, that's something I definitely want to get into later on. Hey Vera, Shaka's mate. Nick, is there a difference between branding and marketing? If there is, what is that difference? I guess branding, Nick, is how you differentiate. So how you're different to everybody else. Marketing, in my point of view, is sort of how you execute that. You know, there are different strategies that you can put into place around how you market yourself and how you push out a record. The branding is the overseeing factor behind all of that stuff. So, you know, how you write your copy, how, you know, what color scheme you're going for, you know, the genre of your music sometimes, all that type of stuff. But yeah, just putting it broadly, the brand is the overseeing factor. The marketing is how you get your brand to differentiate you to everybody else. Benny, these days you see people pay for likes and stuff for their brand. Do you think paying for promotions on Facebook benefits people with small brands? If not, the best way to? Look, I'll be pretty blunt about this. Paying for actual streams and paying for likes and getting all the bots to do that is massively detrimental to your brand. It's stupid. But using proper Facebook marketing and putting money behind that, if you've got a solid plan and a solid audience, then it can be smart. I still think it comes down to talking about or thinking about, you know, what's engaging and what's, you know, how you differentiate and how you are gonna be different. And then after that, after you've worked that out, after you've worked out how you're going to roll it out and worked out what your target market is, who your demographic is, you know, from there you can really go for it with the Facebook marketing and the, you know, creating ads and creating sponsored posts and stuff like that. He says, or the best way to getting organic likes. The best way to get organic likes is just to be engaging. You know, one of the reasons why we did this video was, you know, it is a strategic move. You know, we feel like that we're not being very personable on Facebook, and Facebook is that storytelling platform for artists and for business people like Christina and I. So we decided to do a Facebook video to be a little bit more engaging and to be a bit more personable. I think, you know, with a brand like yours, Benny, I haven't really had to look too much into it, but you know, having a look at the ways that within your brand you can really talk to people and ask questions and have them engage with you is the best way to get organic likes. You've got to actually make people want to comment. And I know that's a little bit airy-fairy. It's not like a solid answer, but it's super important to really think about, you know, who is my audience, first of all, and then secondly, how am I going to engage them? How am I going to get them listening? How am I going to get them talking? So I hope that I feel like that was a little bit airy-fairy, but I hope that answered your question a little bit more. Hey, Daniel. Hey, Cash. What's happening, guys? Oh, well, it's good that you agree, Ben. That's good. But yeah, I think where a lot of people get it wrong when it comes to music and releasing music, and it happened to me, is pandering and going for what's hot now. A lot of people that I talk to that are releasing their first or second song are like, this is what's hot right now. This is what's going to get me streams. This is what's going to get me likes. This is what's going to get me attention. This is what's going to get me gigs. This is what's going to get me DJing or playing live music for a job. And it's like, hang on, just wait a second. It's really important to do something that not only you can stand behind and be proud of, but it's really important to do something that that you enjoy. When we first started producing for Righto, James and I were making big room progressive house. I've come from a deep house, techno, acid house background. That's why I started listening to, and when I was first exposed to dance music, and to then listen to big room and be like, yeah, this is pretty cool. Let's make this because it's what's hot right now. It was the biggest mistake we made with our career. As soon as we were like, you know what, fuck this, we're gonna make what we want. We're gonna make things that we actually enjoy making. That was the moment where it clicked, and people were like, hey, these kids are pretty cool. These kids are doing some cool stuff. And that's when we, started playing a lot more shows. That's when we started getting a lot more streams. That's when we started, our brand started to grow a lot more. So it's super important to do something that you enjoy, or if your brand is molded around you, then if you're doing something that you're not passionate about, then the brand's going to be see-through, and it's people have a way of detecting that, and it is quite see-through. But if you're doing something that you love, it's super easy. So and people are going to engage a lot more, and people are going to enjoy what you're doing a lot more, and you're going to enjoy what you're doing a lot more. So Benny, just to expand on your question a little bit, firstly, find exactly to the letter what you want to do. That doesn't mean you can't explore in terms of genres and mixing things and stuff like that, because I think that's what producers should do. And if you create a brand around that to say that you're really, expanding and stuff like that, I think that's awesome. But yeah, doing stuff that you're not too fond of is detrimental. Shawnee, I'm pretty sexy, right? I'm growing a beard, trying to grow a beard. It's looking pretty good. What do you think of it? Do you think it's all right? It's my mustache is starting to go in my mouth a bit, but I'm going to try and clipper it a little. So yeah, guys, for the guys who have just joined, we've got about 10 followers now. So this is really good that I've kept your attention for almost 25 minutes. But if you've got any questions about sort of your brand or how you want to expand your brand, Shawnee, I know we were having a joke, mate, but you as an example with the Bass Candy stuff is a real good DJ Grizzly. I'll change my name. But with the Bass Candy stuff and the Bass House Movement stuff, it's just, adding a community to a brand that is, already solid, and that's why guys like Sean are playing at places like Chinese Laundry and Deeper Than House and gigs, around the country that are doing really well. So good on you, Shawnee. I'll consider changing my name on Facebook to Grizzly. I don't know, what else have I got here? Why is branding important? I feel like we covered that. How do you make a brand unique? I feel like we covered that as well, just by doing stuff that you really find, interesting to yourself. And then coming up with ways around really focusing on that. I guess I can get it a little bit into the rebranding of Righto since I went solo. it's become a little bit less about the actual quality of the music, even though the quality's still got to be 100%. And I'm a perfectionist like that. Splitting up with James was more about changing Rido to what happens after the music's released. What can we do to really, really engage you guys to, you know, do really well with the music, because you spend hours and hours, sometimes months, on writing that one song that you think is going to be a hit, but you know, there's no guarantee of that. But branding and smart marketing really allows you to narrow down the field in fact that, you know, you can confidently say, I'm going to get this amount of streams, I'm going to get this amount of follows, I'm going to get this amount of engagement on all my posts and stuff like that. So Will's got another one. How do you go about finding your own sound as a producer, brand, and making it stick without it getting saturated or overused? Similar to how you hear wavy future bass sounds and people may say that has flume vibe to it. I think it's trial and error. And I think you gotta really, I don't know, you gotta test and do different things. You know, if you did something, you know, with a wavy future bass sound, you know, you're not flat out copying, you know, if you're not flat out copying Flume and you're actually doing something, yeah, sure, use different VSTs, stop using sausage fattener, you know, do some different stuff. You can still use the wavy future bass sounds, but just manipulate it in some way that is different, and test, do different stuff. You can't just copy and expect to grow a following, because it's not going to happen. You know, the guys like Flume grew his following like he did. You know, obviously the future classic remix comp and all that sort of stuff, and what he did with Emo and all that type of stuff. But the reason why he grew his sound and got his sound the way it is because he did different stuff. Nobody was really doing what he was doing in Australia at the time. And that's why he had success with it. I think, you know, when it comes to artists like, you know, you look at artists now, and I kind of hate using him as an example, but you look at guys like Will Sparks and the whole Melbourne bounce movement. It's a great movement. Like, it's awesome. They've created a culture that has allowed artists to really dive into that sound. But what we're finding is that so many people are doing the same thing or trying to emulate that same thing that Will Sparks, Joel Fletcher, Dioro, TGR, all those guys are doing, and it's not getting these guys anywhere because it's the same. You know, it's not different. It's not manipulated. I think going about getting your own sound as a producer is all about testing, all about experimenting with different sounds, all about, you know, if you're a DJ playing different genre sets, or even creating a genre that, you know, even working on a genre that has no interest to you, but, you know, can give you really cool ideas for what you want to do. I'm actually starting to lose track of the questions now, which is cool. Oh, well, not lose track, but people are talking, which is good. I'm glad I can engage you with my big head and grizzly beard. How do you find going? Oh no, we read that one. Branding assets. What are the tangible assets we need as a brand, e.g., logo, etc.? Nick, another good question. Firstly, let me just answer that a different way. I think it's really important to understand that branding is not just a logo. Branding is not just the color scheme that you're using. Branding is not just your genre. Branding is everything. To the way that you dress at gigs, the way that you hold yourself, the way that you communicate to people. The way that you communicate to people and other artists. You know, everything is branding. I think it's, I mean, the tangible assets that you need for a brand is I think one thing that's really important is a press kit. So an artist biography to tell people what you're all about. any danger of a Rido announcement coming up? I don't know. Reese, you going to let me? Am I allowed to? No, I think I might hold that, mate, for you. Back to Nick. I might. Yeah, so a press kit. So bio, logo, press releases for the records that you're working on that are able to pitch to industry people, media, etc. And press shots. And I think with a press kit, I think it just gives you a really professional brand. I think it's more so about looking professional, and just really going from there. I think it's common for people to get stuck up into the logos and what the photos look like and all that sort of stuff, which is really good. But then they forget about the other side of it, which is, you know, what your mission statement is. If we go off what Cartel is, then Cartel's mission statement is Come Teach Passion. So our whole mission is about working with guys that, you know, have talent have talent, but have more so hard work, you know, and we believe that hard work trumps talent because, you know, it just does. It's a fact. So that's our mission statement, and every artist we work with has to have that quality and has to have that drive to be able to, you know, put up with Christina or my constant emails about what's happening and stuff like that. So it's important to have that tangible stuff, and it's important to have that press kit, but it's also important to remember that it's not just a logo, it's about everything. Tease away, great man. I do have an announcement coming up in the next few weeks, which I'm really excited about, which Reese is getting at, but I'm gonna hold it. I'm gonna hold it till we get some solid stuff, and then we go from there. So it's exciting. Somebody's opening the door. Get out. That was my mum, guys. She opened the door to probably tell me dinner was ready, but I'm not going to go anywhere. Yeah. So hey, Ash, good to see you. Ashley's our photographer at Cartel. So all the photos that you see posted on our Instagram, on our Facebook, on our website, it's all Ashley. She does all the design. She's amazing at what she does, and she's really been pivotal to helping this brand come to life, which is really cool. Joshua, hey mate, how are you? Looking forward to having a good bond with you soon. Mitch, how are you? So I feel like we covered a fair bit of stuff. I guess what I wanted to get into now was sort of another question that I get is how did I get sort of the stream, or how do I get the streams that I'm getting on my records? And the question and the answer to that is just planning. It started knowing that I was going to have 3 tracks coming from October to now, 1 independent and 2 label, and we really wanted, well, firstly that the one that we put out independently got turned down by every label under the sun. So I sent it to every single label. Every single label that I find somewhat interesting, I sent it to, got turned down. I got told that it was the shittest thing they'd heard from me. And I was like, wow, I was a bit taken aback. And then we decided to release it anyway, but release it not just on SoundCloud, go through the proper distribution channels. So we whacked it up through TuneCore, but the plan was very much so Spotify driven. We wanted to, you know, there was all that debate happening about SoundCloud, and we just wanted to really legitimize the brand a little bit more. Hey Hayden. And the way that we legitimized the brand by doing Spotify was first going to YouTube. And YouTube's I mean, in dance music, YouTube's pretty underrated. We partnered with a brand called Mr. Deep Sense that's based out of the UK, which loved Mind Control. From there, we said, hey, you can premiere this a week before, and then the week of, share the Spotify link and push everyone to our Spotify or to my Spotify. And that was the plan. And I got released the day after Cola got released by Camel Fat and Elderbrook. So we kind of hightailed off the back of those because people were watching Cola on YouTube, and then Mind Control was the next song, and the link to download the song was Spotify. So it really pushed people to my Spotify account. It got 100,000 views in a week, purely because it had the right placement. We were really picky with how we did the marketing for it, because it was my first solo release. And then from there, that's when all the streams started coming, and then the social media plan came into play around how I put it out on my Facebook page, how I put it out on my Instagram. And by no means have I got millions and millions of followers from that one song, but it wasn't designed to get millions and millions of followers on Facebook and Instagram. It was designed for people to move to my Spotify to actually listen to what I was making. And that's what it did. And then that was the building block, that track. We talk to artists all the time about having a building block first. So that was my building block independently. And then I moved into a label release with Be Rich, which was a step up in my story because I'd signed to another label. And we released Skyfall in October, which was a little bit of a risk because media actually goes dark in November. A lot of guys that run blogs and stuff take their annual leave around that time. So yeah, it was a little bit of a risk, but that release, knowing that we had a really strong YouTube presence on the first record and we had a really decent response to Spotify after that record, with some playlists and stuff that I'd worked on. After that, what happened was we just went bang on into Spotify and got New Music Friday. It's still sitting in a playlist called Wachende, which is a German playlist that really connected over in Germany, which is really cool. And it's just clocked 500,000. So that's really cool. And that was another building block to the new one, which was First Time, which, we've got another strategy for, which was for me to align with more brands. And that was to build more so my Instagram, because my Instagram game's pretty shit in terms of following. So we've aligned with some brands like Executive, which is a clothing brand, which I'm wearing the watch and the t-shirt right now, which really aligns with me, and aligns with Cartel also. And we've aligned with with a gym called Effort, based out of Escobar, which is really cool, which is what I use James Tan for filming a video and an interview talking about the record. So that's sort of roughly, there's a lot more to it than sort of what I've given you, but we thought about it from that stage about having building blocks and really building, and that's led into having announcements with Reese and stuff from there, so which is all coming soon. So, and then the next record will be another building block, and then another building block, and then another building block. It's never going to be about having a hit record straight away, because it just doesn't happen like that. But I think we got a little bit off topic. Back to branding. TK baby, how are you, mate? So for those of you who just joined, we're talking all things branding. So if you want to have any questions or any dialogue with me about your branding, questions about other people's branding, what works, what doesn't work, if you want to bounce some ideas off me, I'm happy to do that. Any feedback on the video would be great as well. I know that I've stumbled a little bit because I've winged it. I was a little bit nervous at the start. I feel like I'm easing into it now a little bit more, which is good. But I'm a little bit red in the face, so sorry about that, guys. I think speaking of TK was a really interesting one around branding, where his artist name was actually TK, just TK, first, and then he had to change it to TK Baby, because I can't remember what it was. What was it? I was only speaking to him about it like a month ago. Alistair, if you're still there, tell me why, and we can talk about it some more. Thoughts on branding under anonymous idea, i.e. masks and etc. Do you mean like having a brand where no one knows who you are? Like your golden features and your running touches and stuff. I think that's really good. I think you got to do it in a good way though. For instance, how Golden Features did it was they had his EP ready to go. All his music was sort of ready. It's known, like, arguably Running Touch's identity is known as well. I mean, if we can go like guys like Clapton, like, do you mean guys like Clapton and stuff where absolutely no one knows who they are? I mean, all that's really known about Clapton is that is he from France or Germany, I think? I'm not quite sure. I think it's smart. You got to have a really good, solid story behind you as to why you're anonymous, though. I think with Clapton, he's got the whole masquerade side to him, where he wears the mask and all that type of stuff, and it really adds to the elements of his live show, and adds to the elements of his DJ sets, and adds to the elements of his music. If Clapton was to come out and say who he was, I don't really. It would definitely be well received, but I don't know whether it'd be worth it, because he's built a brand where people don't know who he is, where he's mysterious, where he's doing things that are, not done. Who else runs masquerade parties? No one, And the funny thing is really you don't know who's running this party because you don't know who Clapton is. It's so cool. But getting back to the original question, I think I actually think it's a good idea. But you've got to be really spot on with your branding. You've got to be really solid, and you've got to have, because you haven't got that personal element, Hayden, you got to have something else that connects with your audience. I think with, if we're going to use Clapton as the example, he has got the masquerade parties, where he can come and be personal with his, not be personal, but play the shows with his fans. So I think it's overdone a little. I mean, most of the guys that are coming to my head are guys that have, like Golden Features, whose identity is kind of known, or Zoo, or whatever, or Running Touch, or guys like that. I think it is overdone, but at the same time, all the guys that I've mentioned have done it in a different way. For instance, Golden Features is the way that he built his sort of little bubble of his brand was that once the EP was done, all these media outlets like In The Mix, Pile Rats, Stony Roads, they were all posting about this guy, Golden Features. Who is this guy? Who is this guy? Guillotine is sick, blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden his EP's out and everyone's loving him. But that hype was really social media driven. Whereas, someone like Clapton uses the masquerade parties or his gigs to more so build that. So I think, personally, I think it can be overdone if artists that don't sort of have the real forethought to think about it and really take the time to build on it. It can die really quickly. Yeah. But that was a really good question. Thanks for that, mate. All right, guys, I guess the main thing I want you to take out of this is to know that a brand is important, and it's not, well, it kind of can be the be all and end all of brands and of music artists. I think great brands have fallen down because of bad branding. And I really feel like it's something that's not spoken about often enough anyway. A lot of, part of my daily routine is going through all the Facebook groups and the Facebook producer groups and rightfully so, there is a lot of people talking about production and production elements, blah, 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 blah. Which is really important, which is really helpful, and which is really helping the community. But what comes after the record has been released, I think, is not really spoken about a lot. And I think it's something it's a bit of dialogue that I think people should talk about a little bit more, because it can potentially help artists that want it as badly as some artists want it to actually achieve some stuff, you know. And welcome, Matt. Matt's a really good example of great branding with his Wildfire brand. Lucky enough to do a couple of remixes for him, but his brand is quite solid and building up through gigs and doing all his G-House stuff, and then all his stuff with Groove Terminator has been awesome, and he's really using the global PR pool and sort of, you know, the RE chart to really build his name, which is fantastic, which is a really, really good way to do it. So, you know, and I think people can really, 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 really take some I don't even know what I was saying. I lost my train of thought, but yeah, take some guidance from it. Yeah. So I think the main thing, the main things that I wanted to take away, as I said before, is what's a cash? Hey mate, how's Fiji? What's a way to get your name out there if you're a newer brand? Basically what we've been talking about, mate, is just making sure that your brand or making sure that you as an artist, or in whatever you're doing is engaging. You've got to in some way engage, whether it be on an educational level, whether it be, you know, through a funny level, whether it be through another way. I think that's how it's going to get your brand out there a lot more. It's going to get people talking about you. You can't just make a song, put it out, and hope for the best, because fantastic records have gotten 30 plays before, and that's something that's sort of not spoken about a lot, and I think it should be. Yeah. So, guys, thanks everyone for joining in. I mean, it's actually been quite humbling, all the people that have jumped on. I think at our peak we had about almost 20 viewers, which was really, really good for the first live video. If you'd like me or Christina to do more live videos, I think it's something that we're going to look into, definitely. Feel free to drop a comment or shoot us a message on something that you want to talk about, if it's related to sort of branding, digital marketing, public relations, distribution, any of that stuff pertaining to the music industry. Excuse me. We'll be happy to jump on a live video or even jump on a call with you and talk about it. But yeah, before I go, just really wanted to say one thing, that the brand is at its truest form and its uniquest form when it represents something that you actually care about. If you don't care about something, the brand won't work. Simple as that. For the fact that people will see through it in many ways than, you know, more ways than one. And the fact that the effort that's put in needs to be at a standard, you know. So if you are an artist that's really, really new to the game of the music industry and wants more knowledge around branding and why it's important and what tangible items and what not tangible items you need to consider in regards to creating a brand, I think it's really important to not rush it. Much like your production, it's quality over quantity. Really take your time, think about it, and make the brand about something that you are passionate about. Because if you're not passionate, you know, the cartel motto is can't teach passion. Because you can't beat passion into someone. You know, you've got to just have it. So, you know, this is why I've done the live video, because it's something I'm really passionate about. Getting music out there and to the ears, it gives me great pleasure. And it gives me great, you know, sense of fulfillment and pride. And that's something I haven't felt even as an artist for a long time. So to find my place in the music industry and to find where I sort of sit within the music industry is really important to me, and it's something that I want to continue doing. So, yeah, we've almost been going for an hour, guys. This is pretty good. If we can get some, we've kind of dipped a bit. I must have been wobbling on a bit, but thanks to everyone that's contributed to this. This is awesome. Hayden, Nick, Benny, Akash, all you guys have been great. Sean, but yeah, we're just a little bit about us. I guess to finish off at Cartel, we're just about to launch a new service, a consulting service, and it's actually brand consulting. So if you want to consult about your brand and you're thinking about, oh, somebody's angry, somebody just put an angry face. Shit, don't be angry at me. If you want to talk about your brand, if you want to have just a fresh set of ears to hear things on, feel free to call me. Or feel free to email me at any time. Christina also, and we're happy just to lend a helping ear and help your brand become as solid as possible. And hopefully from there, Bill Young, how are you, mate? Long time no see. Bill's an old school friend of mine, which is awesome. Haven't seen Bill in about 7 years. So, how are you, mate? It's good to see you. So guys, I'll probably cut it there or cut it here, but hopefully you haven't just watched a really awkward guy do a video for the last 51 minutes. You've actually got some content out of this, and you've actually got some ideas and some actual good stuff out of this. Feel free to hit me up. Like I said before, feel free to hit me up at any time for absolutely anything regarding your brand or marketing. Any ideas you want to bounce anything off, I'm just here, so feel free. Yeah, thanks guys. This was awesome. Until the next one, see you later.